What's up YouTube, this is Joe from Z4 Games and I'm bringing to you guys a Tindangle deck profile. I love Tindangles. I'm always talking about this with James whenever new support comes out or when it gets released. We just have so much fun. Well, at least I have always a lot of fun talking about this deck because this deck has so much potential as an actual good flip deck. Along with things like subterranes and things like that, but it just never had the support until now to actually get going. It's always just been a bit too slow for like a olden day flip based deck, but now it has the speed and the potential to actually go and do things and actually get its plays going. The two brand new cards that we just recently received really give this deck an oomph, and I'm going to show you guys how they work in this deck with just your basic combos, like your basic interactions within this deck, and how it combos with the other engine that I have in this deck, as you'll see, and why, as you can see, Beauregard Dragon is really good in this deck. So, as always, if you enjoy this, because I like and subscribe down below, ding that notification bell, because obviously if you enjoy a person's content here on YouTube, you don't want to miss out on that content, and that notification bell helps prevent that, and all of that is greatly appreciated, and we thank you guys so much for doing so. So with all that said and done, let's get into this Tindangle deck. So the brand new card that we got imported in Dawn of Majesty is Tindangle Drelef, which is a level 3 fiend with 0 attack and 1800 defense flip. It has a flip effect of you can take one flip monster from your deck, accept itself, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. And its non-flip effect, because Tindangles have a flip and a non-flip effect, is that if this card is in your hand, you can discard one other card, send one Tindangle from your deck to your graveyard, accept Drelef, and if you do, special summon this card in face down defense position. You can use each effect of Drelef once per turn. So this really helps set up your plays, it really helps start up your combos, and gets all of your Tindangles that you need out of your hand, out of your deck, and in the graveyard, while also setting itself for future plays and to trigger other cards, which we'll see in a moment. Going with our other brand new card, which we got in the Poker Night set, the God set, which is Tindangle the Holes. It's a level 5 Dark Fiend effect flip monster with 1000 attack and 1000 defense. Flip, you can send one spell or trap from your deck to graveyard. Cool, it's just like Foolish Bay or Goose. If this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you can target one Tindangle monster in graveyard, except the holes, and special summon it in face down defense position. You can use each effect of the preceding effects of Tindangle the Holes once per turn. A Tindangle Link monster that uses this card's material can make 3 attacks during each battle phase. That is good because our Link monster gets to 3k, so that's 9,000 damage. It doesn't even have to attack monsters, it can attack directly 3 times, which is really good. The best card to combo with our Drelef and the Holes is Tindangle Intruder. It's a level 6 fiend with 2200 attack and 0 defense. Flip, you can add a Tindangle card from your deck to your hand. Our non-flip effect is that when this card is normal summoned, you can send a Tindangle card from your deck to the graveyard. If a monster or monsters is special summoned to your field in face down defense position while this card is in your graveyard, special summon this card in face down defense position. This is not optional. You can use each effect of Intruder once per turn. So it gets your cards where you need them to be. So it just gets your cards in the graveyard or to your hand, which is absolutely fantastic, but it also sets itself, so it's additional link fodder, additional extender in the forms of your deck, and so you're really going to be flooding the board thanks to Intruder and Drelef. For your other Tindangles, I'm playing the one Angel, which is a flip, special summon one flip monster from your hand or graveyard, in face down defense position except Angel. Then if it is your opponent's battle phase and the battle phase uses the effect of Angel once per turn, triggering this with things like Beauregard Dragon, they can't respond to it. It's just so good. Then we have one copy of Trinity. So Trinity, level 4 Fiend Flip. Flip effect is that you can special summon Tindangle base Gardener from your deck, which is good because your Link monster needs base Gardener in the grave to gain its attack points. And if this card is flipped face up, your Tindangle monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. If this card is sent to the graveyard as Link material, Link summon of a Tindangle monster, you can add one Genome's End from your deck to your hand, and if you do, send one spell trap from your deck to the graveyard. You can use the effect of Trinity once per turn. Then we have one copy of Tindangle Protector, level 3 Fiend Flip. Flip effect, you can change up to 3 face down defense position monsters you control to face up defense position. Then if all those monsters are Tindangle monsters, you can add up to that many Tindangle cards from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect of Protector once per turn. So it's more searching if you get it off. One copy of the base Gardener. This one doesn't have a flip effect. 2300 defense, level 5. If you control a face down defense position monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. You can only special summon base Gardener once per turn this way. If a monster is normal or special summoned and it is now pointed to by an opponent's Link monster, except during the damage step, you contribute this card to special summon Tindangle from your hand or deck in attack or face down defense position. When the last of the Tindangle main deck monster, we're playing one Tindangle Hound, which is our main deck boss monster. Flip, you can target one other face-up monster in the field. This card gains attack equal to that target's original attack, then change that target to face down defense position. Each monster your opponent controls loses 1000 attack for each monster linked to it. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect sent to graveyard, you target one face down monster on the field and change it to face up defense position. That's it for the Tindangle monsters. Moving on to the non-Tindangle monsters, we have the 2 copies of the Terrifying Toddler of Torment, TTT. Level 3 Fiend with 0 attack and 2000 defense. Flip, you can send one Fiend from your deck to the graveyard. Another way to get our Tindangles off in the graveyard. If this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you can special summon this card in face down defense position. You can only use each effect of Terrifying Toddler of Torment once per turn. Really good card in combination with our Jirelith. This, in combination with this, as well as our Intruder, gives us 3 bodies on board. Absolutely busted, considering this is Tindangles. We're playing the one random copy, or seem random, of Crawler Dendrite. It can be any crawler you want. I've just gone with Dendrite because it has a flip effect. You can send a monster from your deck to the graveyard, another way to get your Tindangles going, or your Toddler of Torment. So yeah, and the other effect is just all about crawlers. I'm mostly using this as a crawler name, as well as that flip effect to send. I'm playing 2 copies of Effect Veiler. This is in combo with our next engine, which is Shadows. Playing 1 Beast, 1 Falcon, 1 Dragon, and 1 Windy. These are pretty much all self-explanatory if you played Shadows in the past. That's why I'm playing these. And the one random tech, which I've seen in dual videos on YouTube using this deck, and it actually does work and it has many uses within this deck, is 1 copy of the Fabled Soul Chris. This is a level 6 light fiend with 2200 attack. If this card is in your graveyard, you can send 2 cards except itself from your hand to the graveyard and special this card from your graveyard. You're not really using it really for that effect as much. You're using it mostly as a fiend light monster in the deck, but that effect can help you in the forms of getting your monsters out of the hand into the graveyard and being light fodder for your Shadow fusions. Going on to spells, Shadow fusion. This deck isn't primarily focused on the Shadow part of the deck, so I'm only playing 2 copies of it, and we have many ways to get to this card anyway, because we're mostly a flip-based deck, trying to trigger our flip-based effects when we want to, and as fast and consistent as we can, meaning that we can just use the Shadow effects to get into our things like Shadow fusion, so on and so forth, so we don't actually have to rely on opening this card as consistent as most Shadow-based decks. Moving on, we're playing 2 copies of Nigel's Protection. You can play 3 if you want to. I'm only playing 2 because we have many ways to get to this card. And I wanted to play another copy of Stairs and Mail. This is another way to get your Tindangles from your hand to graveyard, while also triggering your flip effects, because you can send a Tindangle from your hand to grave and then flip a monster on the board. You can use it as many times as you want, so as each Tindangle you send is a different name. Then we have 3 copies of World Legacy Survivor. It seems weird, but you want to just dump your cards to graveyard. It's kind of like a version of the grass is greener. So excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, add 1 excavated crawler monster or World Legacy card to your hand. Also send the remaining cards to the graveyard. Otherwise, shuffle all excavated cards into the deck. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra except link monsters. You can activate 1 World Legacy Survivor per turn. We're pretty much a primarily link focus based deck, so that's not really much of a problem. We have a trap card that we really want to search, which helps us trigger our Tindangle effects. And getting that crawler to the graveyard and your other stuff as well is pretty good. So we have a lot of ways to search and a lot of ways to mill. So this deck is just oddly consistent in its own unique way. The card we're trying to get to with our World Legacy Survivor is World Legacy Pawns, and this is why the crawler comes in. Continuous trap card. Target 1 face down defense, 1 face down monster you control. Change it to face up attack or defense position. You can shuffle a crawler monster from your graveyard to the main deck, then target face up monster you control. Change it to face down defense position. We're mostly using it to flip up. We don't really care about flipping back down again, but we do have that 1 crawler in deck for the target option if we so want to. We're playing 3 copies of Tindangle Duality. This is our cheat way to get into our Link 3. When you take battle damage from your opponent's attacking monster, while you have 3 or more Tindangle monsters in your graveyard with different names, you can destroy the attacking monster. If you do, special summon 1 Tindangle Acute Cerberus from your extra deck. If you control no monsters in the extra monster zone, you can banish the card from your graveyard and target 3 Tindangles with different names in your graveyard and special summon them in face down defense position. We're playing the 1 copy of Genome's End. It's kind of like a win button. You don't really need to use it that much. And the 1 copy of the Resh Shadal Incarnation. Just another way to trigger our flip effects. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. Our cheeky trigger whenever we want to without response is Beauregard Dragon. The 1 borrow monster that no one plays. So it takes 3 plus effect monsters like any other borrow monster and has 3 fast attack. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. Once per turn you can send 1 card from your spell and trap card zone to the graveyard. Special summon from either graveyard to your field 1 monster was destroyed and sent there this turn, but negates effects. Once per turn, quick effect, you can target 1 monster on the field and change it to face up defense position. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effects activation, meaning that no matter what, you're going to trigger your flip effects. You're going to flip them up and you're going to get their benefits. 1 copy of Beauregard Dragon, just a way to out opponent's monsters by stealing them, and 1 Unchained Abomination, just another easy link 4 to make to just help clear off boards and getting damage. 2 copies of Tindangle Acute Cerberus, because we can trigger and get it easily out with our trap card, while also just easily link summoning it now, which is great. Still wish Tindangles could get a link 2 just to make things a little bit easier, but we can't get everything that we want. 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn, Phoenix and Cerberus, pretty much self-explanatory there. And 1 copy of Lib the World Key Blade Master. We do play World Legacy cards in this deck, so we can actually use this card. It just takes 2 monsters, can only be linked summoned while you have a World Legacy card in graveyard. You can use each of the following effects of key once per turn. During your main phase, you can set 1 World Legacy spell trap card directly from your deck, but it cannot be activated this turn while you have no World Legacy monsters in your graveyard. If this link summon card is sent to graveyard's link material, you can shuffle 1 card in the field into the deck, which is very, very nice. 1 copy of Subterra Behemoth Fiendess. We can actually use this card and it's actually pretty good. And then we have the 1 copy of Shadal Construct. Just a way to get your light Shadal option on board, but also being, I believe it is, yeah, it is a walking fusion summon on legs, which is very, very nice. Helps you go into your construct and then you can go into Winder later on. that's it for the main and extra deck. I'm just going to quickly not really show you combos per se, but just show you how these cards interact with each other. Your main combo that you want to know, quote unquote, is your combination of Duelith as well as your Intruder and your Toddler, like these, as well as your Daholes. These are the main things that you want to be knowing, how they interact with each other and how they go off with each other. And then you also have your World Legacy pawns that you want to try and get to as well. So let's say like I had these 2 in hand, or these 3 in hand. Like if you have these 3, like your players are then pretty much good to go, per se, which is pretty good for this deck. So you use your Duelith, you can reveal it, you can send your Toddler Torment from your hand, and then your Intruder from your deck to graveyard. It can be either one, like you can send your Intruder from your hand and your Toddler from deck. I believe. You can discard one other card, send one Tindangle card from your deck to graveyard. So yes, you'll always send your Intruder from deck to graveyard. So you'll send your Toddler from hand, send your Intruder from deck, and then you'll special summon this card in face down defense position. So this gets set. Since you did that, your Toddler can then activate. It's this card sent from your hand or deck to graveyard. You can special summon this card in face down defense position. So then your Toddler gets set. And since a monster was set face down, your Intruder will then set itself as well. So you already got your entire board good to go pretty much with those 3 set. Then you can set your pawns. From there you can activate your pawns on your opponent's turn, change a face down defense position monster you control, change the face up attack or defense. So you can use this, and then you can either flip your Toddler or you flip your Duelith. Or you can even flip your Intruder. You can add a Tindangle card. So yeah, you can then play this on your opponent's turn. If any one of these is going to be threatened, you can then just start flipping them face up. So like if you flip your Duelith, you can take a flip monster from your deck, accept itself, and either add it to your hand or send it to grave. So from there we can like send out the holes. And then if this card is sent from the hand or deck to graveyard, target Tindangle monster in graveyard, accept the holes and special summon it. So if you had another thing graveyard, you could do that as well. Since you're sending a flip monster, I believe, yeah, you can even send your Shadows if you wanted to as well, which is pretty nice. Yeah, so you have a lot of options within this deck, which is just, to me personally, like, it's not tier 1 meta. I'm not trying to say that, but the fact that this deck can now actually play more than just set one monster and pass is really nice. And like the combination of these, like the synergy these have, the synergy that the pawns has, it's just so nice in this deck now. It's just absolutely fantastic. Then you have the consistency of things like World Legacy Survivor to get to your pawns, and then because you're a flip based deck, you can then use your Shadows. So anyways guys, that's it for me with this video. Like, comment and subscribe. Till next time, as always, happy dueling.